Two of the most popular Android phones for photography are the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra and the Google Pixel 8 Pro. Can you tell the difference between these two?
Well, you may or may not have guessed which one is which, but we'll reveal those shortly. We'll be looking at food shots, landscapes, selfies, low light shots, slow-mo, and regular videos using all of the lenses. And we will religiously, meticulously elaborate.
Namaste, we are DHRME. Dudes hath religiously, meticulously elaborated. Stuff we have to read. We won't take too long, but let's talk very briefly about the specs.
Briefly.
Like, very briefly.
We won't even talk about it.
Sure.
And be very brief. Look, we're not spec geeks and we wanted to keep this comparison real. So we basically set both cameras to default, pointed and shooted, like most of the world is gonna do. Let us know if you like it and we might go more in depth for each of these cameras as well. Alright, in terms of using the cameras themselves, the Pixel has a separate video icon at the bottom where Samsung's gone for separate modes. And I'll be honest, we prefer the iPhone. We mean the Samsung implementation. Pixel's UI is more original, but sometimes that's not a good thing. Anyway, let's get to the samples, shall we?
We're starting with food because we like food. Now, in this picture of the Picky Pasta or Pichi Pasta, the S24 Ultra sports a more contrasty look compared to the Google Pixel 8 Pro, which tends to even out the lighting. On this roasted duck breast, the Ultra has got the lighting a bit warmer, but the image is a bit sharper, and this tended to be a theme in low light. On this sandwich from Al Antico Vilniayo, however you pronounce that, there's no real noticeable difference to me. Move on. On this brie with truffle, the blacks on the edge of the truffle are blacker and the image just seems a bit sharper to me on the Pixel 8 Pro. On this picture of the zoomed in truffle, both do a pretty good job, but there's a bit more texture on the background on the Ultra compared to the Pixel. When in Italy, you gotta have gelato, and again, I feel like the S24 Ultra is a bit warmer here, but a bit more realistic with the colors as well. On this picture, the greens are a bit too poppy on the S24 Ultra. Everything is well exposed except the steak itself. In this pizza with burrata, the Pixel 8 Pro is more realistic with its colors and also the detail on the pizza crust. Again, with the ravioli, the S24 Ultra again tends to be warmer, but I think it overdoes it a little bit. On this zoomed in penne pasta, the S24 Ultra adds a bit of warmth. The Pixel photo is a bit uglier, but sadly it was more realistic as to what it looked like when we were there. In this picture of the Tuscan meat stew, it's a really difficult subject to photograph. There's no texture at all, so there's not much in it, but it's slightly warmer on the Pixel 8 Pro. The artichoke carpaccio salad, the S24 Ultra is warmer, but otherwise I'd pick either of these. But in the seafood linguine, the more pleasing picture is definitely on the S24 Ultra, and the Pixel is a bit hazy for some reason. Now in this one, the Pixel seems to have shaken and the Ultra is way more pleasing. On this picture, the Pixel exposes the lamp better and has an overall more pleasing face, but the Ultra delivers a brighter shot. In this one, we have a choice between sharper and a brighter shot. I clearly prefer the Pixel here despite the Ultra being brighter. This front portrait is a bit of a disaster on the Ultra. Let's move on. And this portrait on the Ultra is actually a portrait. The Pixel actually failed to blur the background after many attempts. This is a complete fail on the S24 Ultra here, almost like I've got makeup on. Even the smoothing effects can't make me look good, so there you go. Good try, Samsung. Now on the moving bus front cam, I like my skin tone on the Pixel better. Pixel ain't lying when they talk about that true tone AI thing they've done. My skin definitely looks from a slightly different race on the Ultra. Now this is a rear camera selfie and the S24 Ultra captures a bit more of the background sound in this video. Here, have a listen.
We're walking on the streets of Pisa late at night. There is absolutely no sunlight, the skies are dark, and we have street lamps like the one there providing some light. I've held the cameras at an arm's distance, and maybe we need to check which of the cameras do better with sound. Is it the Google Pixel 8 Pro or the S24 Ultra? I'm curious to hear what my own thoughts are going to be and yours.
In this daytime shot of me vlogging, I definitely prefer the colors on the S24 Ultra, surprisingly. In this indoor shot in the Da Vinci Museum, the S24 Ultra does a better job of noise reduction and generally handles the harsh light much better. Now, Pixel does better with the sunset here and the Ultra does better with the face. What's more important to you? I'd say sunset in this case. For landscapes, we'll start with this picture of the baptistry next to the Leaning Tower of Pisa. Guys, for me, all of these shots look pretty much identical. I guess the S24 Ultra does have a slight HDRE look to it, and the sky did tend to lean more towards yellow. Not so in the picture of the Leaning Tower of Pisa itself. This was shot around dusk. The sky definitely did not look as blue as any of these shots suggest. I find the S24 Ultra more pleasing here though. The roles are kind of reversed in this shot of the Pisa Central Station. The building color pops out more on the S24 Ultra and the tones are cooler on the Pixel 8 Pro. Now this is a panorama I took on both cameras. I think the S24 Ultra has a broader field of vision of the Piazza di Cavalieri. The stitching does look a bit better on the Pixel though, especially near the sun, where there's kind of a clear separation visible. Besides that guys, a lot of daytime shots look so similar, there's really nothing worth talking about, especially when we talk about landscapes and objects. However, when it comes to zoom, to no one's surprise, the Ultra shows what it's made of. You can get in far closer to any scene than the Pixel can. This picture of the tower at night is represented better on the Pixel, especially the color of the sky and the general hue of the tower itself. And again, the difference between the two here is the confidence the Pixel has in the darker parts of the structure. However, if you zoom in, you can see much more detail is preserved on the bricks around the window on the Ultra rather than the Pixel. The same is true for this night shot on the banks of the river. When zoomed out, I kind of prefer the Pixel due to its not too dramatic sky, but zoomed in, it's clear that the S24 Ultra does better on finer stuff, like blooming on the lamps. Speaking of blooms, I thought that the Pixel 8 Pro did better with the overall balance on this multi-tea light holder shot. What do you guys think? This is a low light shot, but on the cupola, I'd have to say that the Ultra takes it, especially when you zoom in. On the portrait of this statue, the S24 Ultra actually succeeded in making a portrait out of it, and overall the colors seem a little bit better on the Pixel. And yes, on the Ultra, you can get moonshots. Now let's talk about people as subjects. The Pixel 8 Pro seems to have gotten a sharper shot here, and the S24 Ultra didn't really see the face on the person to the left, but who can blame it? Pixel's done a good job though. This rainbow mohawk pops better on the Ultra, as do these Shrek cosplayers, since the Ultra was able to isolate the subjects correctly for a portrait. This dancing troupe was very challenging to isolate for a portrait, so I don't blame either for failing, but the Pixel did make it a bit weird by blurring out the kid on the left. A complete fail here on the S24 Ultra, blurring the foreground instead of the background. Again, a better subject isolation on the S24 Ultra here.
When we start the videos, it's clear that the zoom of the Ultra has a clear advantage over the Pixel. I don't know why, but when I take a photo somehow, I feel like the zoom somehow matters less. Here we almost got a shot of the pilot picking his nose, so that's fun. Ultra cool. On this shot of the mountains between the Netherlands and Italy somewhere, the mountains were much clearer on the Ultra when zoomed in. Also in this sunset view of Pisa, we kind of prefer the slightly overexposed shot on the Ultra. Also looking at all these wonderful people all dressed up for the carnival, I feel like the Ultra is a bit smoother while panning around and doesn't add too much fake blue to the sky. Alright, let's talk about audio for a bit. Here with the marching band, there's a clear kind of low shelf being applied to the Ultra's microphones. Due to which there's not much bass from the bass drums, whereas you can kinda hear a low hum on all the videos on the Pixel. When looking at these court jesters, the colors on their clothes pop much more on the S24 Ultra. Here are some more samples for you to sample. Google also has a video boost feature for which you need to use Google Photos, which we didn't enable in this comparison.
So what did you guys think? It's very close. And as much as I love Google Pixel's color science and aesthetic choices, I'm gonna have to be honest, I think the S24 Ultra is just a better rounded camera for me.
Alright guys, full disclosure, Samsung did send us the S24 Ultra for review purposes only, and then we sent it back. The Google Pixel we bought with our own money. And let's be clear, we never accept money from companies whose products we review. This keeps us super unbiased and honest towards you guys. So this is a real review, not a real review. So a special thanks to all of you YouTube members and patrons. And a special thanks goes out to Gamma Panda, Hunter, and Paula. Thank you very, very much. You've been Ultra Pixel Perfect.
And we've been DHRME.
Doei.